What's up? It's me, Haley Jones, and I'm here with Zack Kramer, and today we are talking about athletic breathwork, but I feel like there's differences. We're gonna get into it, okay? But before we get into it, we are going to do a little rapid fire just so you can get to know Zack
Here we go.
a little better. Are you ready?
No.
I know. Okay, we'll start easy. Burpees or box jumps?
Ooh, box jumps.
Same. Coffee or tea?
Coffee. Or versus water, anything. Coffee.
Oh, really? Coffee over everything?
Yeah.
That's a hot take I've not heard, actually. No one said that before, but I'm not in line with it. But I get what you're saying. Okay. College sports or professional sports?
Ooh, college for sure.
Who's your favorite, college team?
We're gonna go balls.
Yes. I was about to be like, okay, we're done. You don't say. Okay. Favorite University of Tennessee sport?
Oh, football.
Okay. Did you watch the baseball championship?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. I know.
I mean, it made me a baseball fan again.
I know. Which one of the commentators was like, the UT fans have proven that if you make a program and you make it good, they will back you up. And I was like, yes. But then I was like, maybe that means we're very petty too.
Also the other way. It's also the other way. Like, if you get good, then people will like you.
Yeah. Hello. Yeah. Exactly. Hello. Okay. Handstand push-ups to failure, or farmer carries to failure.
I gotta go farmer carries. First one sounds like a neck injury.
God. Oh, I didn't think about that. I just thought, I was like, I can't do a handstand push-up at all.
First one sounds like at the end I'm just crashing on my spine.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. Strength training or cardio?
Strength training.
I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah.
Dogs or cats?
Dogs.
Really? Do you have a dog?
No, but I want
Dogs.
one. Yeah.
He said, I want one. Okay, protein powder or protein bars?
Powder. I'd rather drink it.
Now, are you it needs to be straight up
I don't care.
clean, or just, you know what I'm saying? Because some of these protein powders have 50 bazillion things in there.
I don't want Fruity Pebble protein powder. Although Orgain has a kids Fruity Pebble pre-made drink.
Really?
Costco.
It's good?
Delicious. It's like drinking Fruity Pebble milk.
I feel like Orgain's pretty clean.
Yeah, it is clean. That's why I'm taking back my statement about the other one.
I take it back. Okay, since we're talking breath work today, as the last rapid fire question, what's your favorite type of breathing?
I really like breath holds. Max breath holds.
Yeah. In water, in open air,
safely in water.
Yeah.
But in general, morning max breath holds are great.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about that. Let's take a right angle into business and talk about, what does that mean, max breath hold? You literally just
So I do
what do you do?
So I do a thing called breath tables.
Yeah.
It is one of my practices that I do, and it's from the free diving community. So really, free divers are kind of the OGs in the breath training world. Which
those are the people who go into the water and they're scuba diving, but not with the scuba equipment, basically, right?
They just go and swim.
What I do every day.
They go down there for a minute. So one of them has a breath hold time of 22 minutes.
What?
Yeah, that's the record.
What's your record?
4 minutes and 45 seconds. So
anyways,
I'm gunning for 7. That's the goal. But yeah, so breath table is what I'll do in the morning. And basically, it's pretty straightforward. There's different kinds, but the one I like the most is where the breath hold increases each round or each rep, and in between you have the same amount of time to rest. So maybe you get a minute to breathe. Okay. And then you hold your breath for a minute and a half. Oh. And you get a minute to breathe, and it's a minute 45 hold. And you do, however many sets of that to build up to a big breath hold at the end.
I want to be doing this later. I feel like it's going to be
it can get time consuming, but there's a strong, I don't know, endorphin release.
Yeah, I was going to say, do you get an endorphin hit or whatever?
Yeah, you feel super good afterwards.
Yeah. Okay, so how did you get into breath work? How did this happen? And I want to say, I keep saying athletic breath work because I feel like there is also this movement of breath work in the meditation community. Yeah. And that's not really what we're talking about. correct?
Not as much. I mean, there's some overlap, but I would kind of call what I focus on more breath training, maybe.
Okay.
To make it a little bit different. So, and maybe to clarify even what I kind of think about when I'm saying that is, training your breathing in a way that's going to improve athletic performance. So any sort of sport, right? I mean, obviously breathing has a part in everything, every second of your day. So obviously it applies to any sport. Right. And so how can you train certain aspects of your breathing to improve the performance of your specific sport? Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So then I know, like, I met you obviously when you were doing, when I was going to your gym, CrossFit gym or whatever. But is it technically it was CrossFit gym?
It was CrossFit,
yeah. You're like, Haley, you don't even know what you were doing.
Well, I think there was a transition period when I started bringing in breathing and stuff. We kind of transitioned a little away from just.
I didn't want you to be like, that's not what that was. But anyways, okay. So that's kind of how I know you. So what was the progression of like that into, like breath training?
Yeah. Well, I realized after I started really getting into it that I was really into it even as a kid. I would do max breath holds.
Okay.
And like I remember sitting in front of my computer on Windows 95 with the clock on there and hitting start and going, and just sitting in front of my computer,
just for fun.
Just for fun. So, anyways, I guess I forgot all about that. But flash forward, what got me into it was kind of some of the more breathwork-ish stuff. So I was doing. If anybody's ever heard of Wim Hof. Ever heard of Wim Hof?
Yeah, I think I may have done one of your Wim Hof things. We're laying on the floor. Yeah, is that okay? Yeah. And I was like, I'm dying.
So I did that, and that I don't know. It was an experience where I was like, what is happening? It kind of was a light bulb moment of kind of what's happening. I started to search and learn more, and started to take some certifications. And the next light bulb moment kind of was, or kind of like. That solidified me in this journey was I took another breathing course, and they recommended doing a month of nasal breathing only no matter what. So even during CrossFit workouts, no matter what, you got to keep your mouth closed. I said, all right, I'm game, let's try it out. And I, pulled back the intensity of my workouts and stuff, but I stuck to it for a month, and I've never looked back since. Like I felt so much better.
Really?
At the end of the month. Like, some of the CrossFit workouts we used to do, you just be floored afterwards.
Yes.
Well, once I adapted.
No, I was great.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Never mind. You were the star. You just you'd get done and just walk off.
Obviously.
Like, I don't know why you're tired. But after this, I could do similar times and perform similarly. Yeah. But I felt refreshed afterwards instead of just like dead.
Yeah.
And so since then, I just kind of went down the rabbit hole and started coaching people individually. And COVID, of course, gave me the chance to work with more people one-on-one remotely. And it just kind of grew from there.
That's cool. So who do you work with mostly? Like, do you have a certain athlete niche, or is it pretty much any, what does that look like?
Yeah. I'll work with any kind of athlete. I'm working with some CrossFitters.
Yeah.
But really the people who I kind of get most interested in are more endurance type athletes, just because it clicks with them more. Yeah. Like if I can train my breathing and keep my heart rate down, then I can, go longer, further, easier. But I also work with, Olympic lifters. So like one of the best Olympic lifters in town, or the best Olympic lifter in town. I mean, he's super aware of his breathing because it has to do with bracing.
Oh, right? Like his core or whatever.
Every time you lift, right, you take a big breath right before a squat. That's all your breathing muscles engaging there too. So it really applies from the strongest person to the person going 100 miles.
Yeah. Which I may or may not have done. Okay. So you mentioned breathing and heart rate. So this is very elementary what I'm about to ask, but I've noticed in my running
is right here.
When you say heart, okay. What I've noticed is, I've got this dang watch that now tells me my heart rate, okay? Which I never had before until I started training for the ultra, right? So I'll be running and I'm looking at my heart rate and I'm like, why is it so high? Which makes it higher. And then so I'm just okay, just breathe. And then I'm in my head, I think I'm making it go slower. Is that real?
No.
From your breathing? Do you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. You can absolutely slow your heart rate down by breathing in different patterns.
Yeah, because I'm maybe the watch isn't right. what is this? You know, I'm like, stay under 140. Like, what are you doing? And so anyways, I'm like, that's something that I wanted to ask you. So is there like a certain technique that does decrease it? Like,
so every breath you take, your heart rate increases on your inhale and decreases on your exhale.
Okay.
That happens every single breath.
So you want to exhale longer?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you focus on your exhale and you slow down your exhale, then you slow down your heart rate. But when you're running, you know, I would challenge you to kind of not pay as much attention to your watch as your breathing rhythm.
Okay. Yeah.
So like you're just talking specifically when you're running?
Yeah.
So when you're running, you should think about how many breaths you're taking for how many steps, or how many steps you're taking per inhale, how many steps you're taking per exhale.
Oh.
So a good place to start would be like 3 in and 3 out. So it's like in, 2, 3, out, 2, 3.
Okay.
And then you can kind of play with making that longer or shorter depending on the intensity of the workout.
Yeah. So what about swimming? Because, well, I know the actual act of breathing and swimming is hard.
Yes.
And I've recently learned from my triathlon coach that like I'm breathing too late, basically. But anyways, like but I have noticed she'll be like, do more strokes with less breaths. And I've noticed that if I just exhale longer, I can do more strokes.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So then breathing for like swimming, what would you tell those people?
Well, what you're making me think about is like the way you said exhaling longer helps you out.
Yeah.
So 2 things there. One is just making sure you're actually getting a full exhale in.
Yeah.
So that you then can get a full inhale.
Yeah.
Because if you're not fully, I mean, never fully get all the air out of your lungs, but if you're not getting a good exhale out, then you're getting a shorter breath every time. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
if you
yeah.
breathe out a little bit, and it's just a sip in every time.
Yes.
You're not going to get a good full breath exchange.
Right.
The other piece is I'm always working on people to start focusing on their exhale more than their inhale. So this might be it. Can we get a little weeds a little bit?
Yeah, let's.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm like, obviously I want to get in the weeds. I'm like, tell me.
So when most people say like you're exercising, they say, I need more air.
Yeah.
Right? Well, what's actually happening is you have plenty of oxygen. You don't need any more. You actually need to get rid of carbon dioxide.
Oh.
Your body is feeling the buildup of CO2 in your system, and that's what it's reacting to.
Yeah.
And so same thing when you're thinking about swimming, a lot of times we don't get that full exhale out, and you end up building up more and more CO2 because you're not pumping it out enough.
Oh, I see.
So if you get a good powerful exhale, you'll actually feel a lot better.
Gonna be in the pool exhaling like a psycho. Yeah. I mean, I think it's so hard to breathe, but that makes sense.
You can exhale into the water, though. That's
exactly.
Like, so.
Yeah. Well, and swimming is hard.
Swimming is hard.
Yeah. But you do like breathing in the pool, like long holds, but you're like not swimming. You're just
going under.
Yeah.
It's easier to hold your breath underwater than it is in the air.
Just because.
Again, you have this thing called the mammalian dive reflex.
This is like real.
This is real.
Okay.
And it's like a mammal thing.
Oh.
So when water is on your face,
Yeah.
you automatically relax more, and it allows you to hold your breath longer.
Interesting.
Isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like thinking about
odd,
this.
Isn't it?
Yeah. What's it called? Mammalian what?
The mammalian dive reflex.
Okay, mammalian dive reflex. Okay, so for athletes, I did stalk your Instagram. Okay, there's like a ton of videos that are super helpful on there, so go see that. But when it comes to like breath work and the order of like training, it seems as if like this athletic like breath training takes you essentially to that next level. But what I want to know is like, a part of me is like, for me, thinking about, I mean, I would love to say that like I'm an athlete. I feel like I'm
You're
like
an athlete, for sure. I mean,
I'm like,
you've done things I have dreamed of trying.
Well, I'm like, anyways, whatever. But I'm just thinking like, when is it important to incorporate this? Like, because there's all the things.
You always want to breathe.
Yeah, right, exactly. But when is it like that's a focus over like mobility or your nutrition or your sleep or is it truly like it? Obviously, I know in ideal world you do all of it.
Correct.
But I want to know like, is this something ideally like you're training from as a kid, or you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like how does this fit in?
I would say it's important to encourage kids to breathe correctly, because a lot of what I end up doing with my clients is like fixing things that they stopped doing.
Yeah. Okay.
So like a normal kid breathes into their belly. We hear belly breathing. That just means that when you breathe in, your abdomen expands.
Yeah.
When you breathe out, it relaxes. Whereas most people chest breathe.
Yes.
Like this. They breathe in, their belly goes in, and their shoulders and chest expand, when it should be, everything should just be down here.
Yeah.
And then most kids naturally nasal breathe too.
Yeah.
So, and then over time, we sit a lot, the whole story.
Right.
We sit a lot, we eat
all
poorly,
all the
things.
Yeah, right.
You end up chest breathing, mouth breathing.
Yeah.
So a lot of when I'm working with athletes is to stop mouth breathing, to start learning how to use your diaphragm to breathe and kind of resetting this stuff. So when it should start would be, just encouraging kids to continue breathing correctly.
Like the correct way or whatever.
Correct way. But from there with athletes, I'd say it's important to develop the ability to nasal breathe for sure. That's kind of always step one.
And that's across like all disciplines, really?
That's just health and wellness. It's like you want to be, in order to be a high performer, you also have to be healthy.
Yeah.
Right? Like just functioning like a well human being.
Right.
And so that's step one, just for health.
So it's not in nose, out mouth. It's in nose, out nose.
Yeah. And that leads a lot into sleep. All these things, really what I like about breathing, and when I work with athletes, I try to build it into their routine. So it's not like this whole, like, you said, you got to focus on your nutrition, you got to get these workouts in.
Right.
I try to make breathing kind of in those things.
Yeah.
So that I'm not adding another hour-and-a-half session for breathing, right?
Praise God.
It's just while you're doing this workout today, if it's zone 2 training, make sure you nose breathe. Or if you're at this high intensity, focus on this pace of breathing or something like that. So it's incorporated in everything they do.
Yeah, okay. So making it be like, it's not separate, it's just a part of how you basically perform whatever it is that you're doing.
Yeah.
So then when it comes to like an endurance athlete and, athletic breathing or whatever, breathing correctly, that's really increasing endurance. And then when it comes to strength, it's increasing power, or is it?
Yeah, it increase power. I mean, it's also there's a whole host of things, right? I'm gonna go into sales mode or whatever, but the other thing is if you're breathing correctly, you really end up protecting your low back a lot more. Yeah. Because you're not breathing kind of in this weird position. You focus on your posture a lot more. So it has some downstream effects of just protecting your low back, but then also sleep. If you're breathing better, I mean, how many sleep issues we hear about with like sleep apnea and all these things, those all have to do with breathing.
Yes.
So if we're breathing better throughout the day, we learn to breathe better, we can relax, and then we sleep better too. So it's just kind of like this cyclical thing. We sleep better, we recover better, then we perform better too. So
so it's like an all-encompassing.
Yeah.
It's not even just about the performance, it's about like better life, bigger life, whatever.
Correct.
Okay, so then I'm still thinking about this in nose, out mouth. So if you're working out and you're breathing in nose, out mouth, let's say we're running, or in nose, out nose.
Okay.
Are you also focusing like where's the breath coming from? Or, because it shouldn't be your chest, right? It needs to be from diaphragm or whatever. Like what should I be thinking in that process, I guess?
I'll pull it back and put a little bit in context. So it's also going to depend what your goal of that training session is.
Okay.
So I mean, if you're doing 100-meter sprint repeats, you're going to mouth breathe. Like you're going to be going
Speak for yourself. Just kidding.
You're going to be going, I mean, you're trying to push the intensity to where you would mouth breathe, right?
Yeah,
like
that makes sense.
If you're doing a 2-minute all-out effort on something, at some point you're going to have to open your mouth to get enough air and to get enough CO2 out.
Okay, yeah.
But if you're training, it's just like a long, slow training day and you're trying to train for endurance, you're not competing.
Right.
That's when you could pull in, nose out, make it a little more challenging.
Okay.
So it's just kind of like different levers you can pull on based on what the outcome is you want.
And how do you know, like, what's a clear indicator of like, oh, I've been doing this better? Or, I guess you said how you feel, like you don't feel dead.
Yeah, how you feel.
Yeah.
But one of my favorite tests is I'll have people take a few breaths, then they exhale, and they hold their breath after an exhale, and they walk as far as they possibly can before they breathe.
Okay.
And you count your steps.
Yeah.
And that's kind of a baseline kind of air hunger test.
Okay.
And if you can increase that, then you're going to increase performance.
Oh, I'm about to do that too. We've got table breathing. We've got...
Yeah. There's all sorts of stuff.
I'm like, I'm going to have to go back and watch this and do all these things. Okay, so I saw you a couple of weeks ago or whatever in the coffee shop, and I was telling you that I've noticed that I've been holding my breath like while I'm working on my computer. Yeah. And you were like, oh, that's whatever you said. Okay, so tell me about that.
Yeah.
I guess it's like a pandemic around here. I don't know,
It's called email apnea, which apnea is just a breath hold, right? So we're talking about sleep apnea.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
So email apnea is basically working on your computer and being focused on something and holding your breath. And the issue with that is we end up, most of the time, people hold their breath on an inhale with a lot of tension. So they go,
yes.
Right?
What you said,
so
yes.
You're breathing in your chest, breathing in your shoulders, you're just holding all this tension, and all that does is like create this cycle of stress.
And chest pain.
And chest or neck pain.
Yeah, I have bad chest pain.
Yeah?
Yeah, bad.
Yeah, that'll come from like that tension.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm like, when you said that, I was like, oh my God, it's like a thing. Okay, so if that's a thing for you, what would you tell people? Just, well, first of all, notice it, like it's not normal.
Noticing it, yeah. I'll have people, you know, one of the first tasks I'll have people do is kind of set an alarm on their phone every hour or something.
Yeah.
To just ask themselves, where am I breathing?
Yeah.
And just to pay attention, like, oh, am I raising my shoulders with every breath? Or am I nice and relaxed and breathing low into my belly?
Yeah, okay.
And so, I mean, just breathing low pulls you into a relaxed state of mind.
Yeah.
Versus, I mean, you can just, I always tell people, like, if you look at someone and they're breathing like this.
Yeah.
I mean, they just look stressed out.
Well, you're like, what's wrong with you? Yeah.
But if you see someone, like, they look more relaxed in the nose, up the nose, nothing's moving when you see them.
Yeah.
But the other piece of it is, like, if you're stressed, you can breathe like this. But also, if you just right now started going, you would start getting stressed, right?
Yes.
So it's this back and forth.
Right.
It's this back and forth piece. So that's why I have people, where am I breathing, and fix it, because if you're breathing the other way, then you're just continuing to tell yourself I'm stressed, and then you're stressed, and then you breathe like that.
Yeah,
it's just like this whole
a negative feedback loop.
Yeah.
Okay, so you have little kids. I mean, how old are your kids?
8 and 3.
Okay, so do you do like breath work with them now? Or like anything like that? I was just curious.
Nasal breathing.
Yeah.
I'll close their mouths. That's the only thing I enforce.
Yeah. I'm an enforcer.
And it's not, you know.
Close your mouth.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But it's like at sleep, like that's definitely a thing.
Yeah.
It's closing kids' mouths when they sleep. Like it should be, everybody should breathe their nose when they're sleeping.
Yeah. Is that because, okay, explain that again. Why is that?
Again, I mean, we could just, a simple example again is like if you just see somebody mouth breathing, how stressed they are.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Versus nose breathing pulls you into that parasympathetic or relaxed state, nervous state.
Oh, yeah.
And you want to be there when you're sleeping, right? You want to be as relaxed as possible when you're sleeping.
Right, yeah.
A whole nother rabbit hole of stuff we won't probably go into, but especially for kids, nose breathing affects where your tongue is, and where your tongue is in your mouth actually affects the development of your face and your skull structure as a kid.
Really?
Yeah. So that's why it's really important for kids, because if they grow up mouth breathing like I did, then that's how, like, I have a deviated septum and like I have a certain facial structure that is because of
it's messed up. No.
Yeah. It is.
No.
It's
okay.
all jacked up.
So you just like close our mouths, basically.
Yeah. They usually just leave it closed.
Yeah.
And they kind of pick up on that throughout the day. But as far as specific practices and things, the only times they've really done it is when it's been, you know, they've seen dad doing some weird breathing thing.
Right.
Like, I want to try that. What is it?
Right. Yeah. Okay. So is there anything that, like, I haven't asked you that you're like, Haley, we got to talk about this when it comes to breathing? That's like, the people need to know this.
I feel like we touched on, I mean, it's important to, breathe your nose, breathe low. I mean, we didn't go down the wormhole with all those things, but I think like those 2 points are good enough,
Yeah. Well, and so also just the idea that, I guess, would you say just start being aware of it? And then if you're like wanting to enhance performance, like ideally, everyone would be breathing correctly or whatever, but.
I'll throw one more thing out there.
Yeah.
Right? This was, so my wife ran cross country.
Yeah.
This is the first time I saw her kind of perk up in his breathing stuff.
Yeah.
So for a 100-miler, hopefully this will apply. So another interesting piece of breathing, and this has to do with your diaphragm. So your diaphragm is your breathing muscle. Like, when it contracts, it pulls down, and that draws the air into your lungs. Like your lungs don't move air in and out on their own. Yeah. Your diaphragm.
Which there's a cool video about this too, and it shows like.
Oh, on my Instagram.
Yeah, on your. Yeah. Anyways,
check it out.
Yeah.
Anyway, so this might be on there too, but it's called blood stealing. At least that's what I call it.
Oh.
And basically what happens is if your diaphragm gets tired, your brain will prioritize it over any other muscle.
Oh.
So if your diaphragm starts to fatigue, like you're running a long ways,
Yeah.
you're breathing heavy, and your breathing muscle, your diaphragm gets tired, it will actually kind of steal oxygen-rich blood from your legs and arms and pump it to the diaphragm first and give it priority.
Really?
So then your diaphragm is taking oxygen that you wish was getting to your legs and arms. So now your legs and arms get super tired, even though you've trained in all these things, but you didn't train your diaphragm.
Yeah. Huh.
And so they've shown you can actually get like 12% more oxygen to your legs and arms if you strength train your diaphragm.
Really?
Yeah.
And that's through breathing, basically.
Yes, through breathing. And
Yeah.
like the device we were talking about before, I use a device called a breather fit with athletes, and basically it provides resistance for your inhale and your exhale. So you have to breathe through it super hard, in and out.
Yeah.
And that'll, like, you can strength train your diaphragm just like you strength train any other muscle.
The Breather Fit is a super simple device designed to train the muscles that you use to inhale and exhale. It does this by adding resistance for both the inhale and exhale when you breathe through it. And it has settings on both sides of the device to make the resistance harder or easier for the inhale and the exhale independently of each other, which is very nice because then you can make just the inhale harder or just the exhale harder, or vice versa. When you use this, you just want to make sure that you're breathing through your belly. That means as I breathe in, my belly expands, and as I breathe out, I squeeze through my belly to blow the air out.
Okay, so my Ironman is on the 29th of September.
Yes, let's do it.
I'm like, okay, because, well, there's all this stuff about nutrition, this, that, the other, which I understand. I get it, okay? I don't want to bonk, whatever. But it also sounds like if you're not breathing right and your nutrition is still okay, you still could bonk because, of your diaphragm.
I mean,
taking all the energy.
Your energy is oxygen and food.
Yeah.
That's how you get energy. So oxygen is just as important.
Yeah, this is fascinating. Oh my gosh. I need to, well, I'm also thinking about breathing on like cycling and being bent over for forever.
Yes.
But that's still nose in, nose out, nose. Yes?
I mean, it's going to depend. If you're competing and you're pushing at the end, you're going to end up opening your mouth.
Yeah.
But ideally, training and things
for the
like
first 5 hours.
that is a cycling. I always work with people because you are in this weird hunched over position that makes it hard to breathe.
Yeah.
And so again, if we go to talk about the diaphragm, your diaphragm, the muscle that contracts to help you breathe, it goes all the way around.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people, what I work with a lot of cyclists on is learning how to activate it in your back. So you can actually breathe better through your back.
Okay. Yeah. That's interesting. Okay. I have so many more questions. I'm like, tell me what to do.
We'll have to do like an active session or something.
Seriously. Okay, so let's take a little bit of a hard right turn before we finish. Okay. Favorite places to eat out in Knoxville? Give me 2 or 3.
Oh man. Pen Thai.
Where's that at?
It's in Farragut off of is that Campbell Station.
Okay.
It's like your favorite Thai place for sure.
Okay.
You
get like noodles? What do you get?
I'm basil rice.
Okay.
But man,
sounds
obviously
good.
Thai hot. You know, you got to get the spicy level that's not on the menu. That's the goal.
Wait, are you saying you like it that much more spicy?
Oh yeah, I want it to burn my face.
Okay, so I'm afraid of that. Okay, I'm not that gangster. But like Landing House, have you been there? Apparently,
no, I've not.
Okay, that's South Knox on Severe Avenue. But yeah, they have like their chicken nuggets. It's not chicken nuggets, but they have like a hot that will supposedly make you in tears.
Okay.
So keep that in mind. Okay, so Pen Thai.
It's okay to mouth breathe if you eat something that's spicy. Just.
It makes you better for next time.
Yes. Other food places?
Yeah.
Oh man, Yassine's.
Yes.
It is very good. Yeah. I don't know. What else?
What about places you like for the kids?
Food for the kids?
Food, activities, things that people overlook.
Activities, we've been doing a lot better job getting out and doing things like paddleboarding or mountain biking and stuff.
Yeah.
So stuff like that's fun.
Yeah.
One of the cool places we like is they just opened up like a outdoor, I guess all playgrounds are outdoor.
Yeah.
But It's like I don't know how to describe it. It's all wood. There's an area in Lakeshore Park they just opened up. It's all like wood, like natural structures, rocks and wood things to climb.
Yeah. Okay.
Plastic and rubber.
Yeah.
So that's a cool place to go.
That's cool.
I feel like my wife's gonna be like, we go to this place all the time. How didn't you say that? But I'm just blanking.
No, it's fine. Anything like if people are like thinking like, is Knoxville a place I should move? What would you tell them?
Don't come here.
Well, what are like some pros and cons? Like,
I mean, I'm saying don't come here because so many people are coming.
I know.
I'm being sarcastic.
Just ignore what he's saying.
Yes. I do love Knoxville. And honestly, we've looked at moving to other places, closer to other family, things like that. But back to your other question, we just love being able to get outside.
Yes.
And you can hike anywhere. You can drive 5 minutes and go hiking and be in the woods.
Yeah.
And that's one of our favorite parts. So
yeah, and you can still get your Costco protein or game.
And you can still go to Costco and be at the lake or the mountains.
Yeah, easy.
The Smokies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome. Yeah, I think a lot of people don't realize how. Well, Knoxville itself is super spread out, but I also don't think people realize, like, as a result of it being not spread out, you have easy access to the mountains, to water, and to whatever. So. And
it's easy. I mean, we were talking about this before we jumped on that. I came here from Atlanta. Yeah. In Atlanta, it took 30 minutes to get to anywhere. Here, in 30 minutes, you get all the way across the town.
Yes,
so,
for sure. Do you feel like it's gotten more crowded? Like, do you feel that Knoxville's got more crowded?
I guess I don't feel it on a day-to-day basis, but there's so many areas that have been built up.
Yes.
Like all the apartments going up everywhere.
Right.
There's certain areas that I was like, well, that was nice when that was just green. And now there's like 5,000 apartments on that
5 billion
lot.
apartments.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't really feel like it's obvious except for that. For development, yes, but then when it comes to like traffic and stuff, I don't really.
Yeah. I'm never on 40 either, so.
Yeah, well, the only place I hate is the Cedar Bluff intersection and 40. Like, that to me is the most heinous intersection of all time. But anyways.
Yeah.
Okay, so as far as if people want to work with you, like you do individual breath coaching, like tell us what that looks like. Where should they go? Who do they need to call?
Yeah.
Tell us.
So athletebreathcoaching.com is the easiest place to go, or Athlete Breath Coach on Instagram. You can get a hold of me either place, but yeah, so I offer one-on-one coaching. Mm-hmm. So if you're an athlete, especially somebody like with a specific goal, like a triathlon, one-on-one coaching, where I build out a specific plan for you, take you through a bunch of tests, things like that.
Yeah.
Then I also just have automatic programs on my website. So if you go there, you just want to sign up for a 6-week plan just to kind of dip your toe in and learn about some of this stuff and try some of it out. Those are the best places to go.
Yeah, that's awesome. So it's kind of like a, if you don't want one-on-one, you still have like a resource. That's awesome. Yeah. Okay, so athletebreathcoach.com.
Breath coaching.
Breath coaching.
Yep.
Sorry, athletebreathcoaching.com. Okay, cool. Zach, thank you so much. Is there anything we haven't talked about that you're like, Haley?
I mean, there's lots of stuff we didn't talk about, but I think we covered what we need to.
Okay, cool. Awesome. All right, thank you.
Absolutely.